Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel BitLogic 10. My name is Alvin and in this video we're going to be diving into Python tuples, what they are, how they work, and when you should use them. So let's grab your keyboard and let's code together. So what is a tuple? Well, it's basically a list and it can hold multiple items, but it's immutable, which basically means once you create one, you can't add or remove any of the items in the list or the tuple, right? So here's how you make a list. I mean, a tuple, right? So I'm just call it first tuple, and then also another key point is that tuples actually are they have parentheses, but lists have square brackets. So that's just something to know. And then obviously you can print first tuple. Alright, so let's run that. Yes, you can see that we printed a first tuple and we got 1, 2, 3, 4, which is our tuple, right? So now that we know that, um what also, yeah, another way you can check if you're not sure if it's a tuple or a list, obviously square brackets and parentheses, but if you forget, you can just you can do this, right? You can do this, and this actually checks for you um, if it's a list or tuple. So say like this wasn't this wasn't um, they weren't both specified, right? So say this one was list 2, and then this one is list 1. See, now we don't know which one is which. So I'm gonna put here list 1, list 2, right? Like that. And we're gonna print it. We're gonna print and see first one, so it shows us a list, and second one's a tuple. Even though we have the name list 1 and list 2, even though tuple's name is list 2, it tells us that it's a tuple. See, when you do this, you also say type print type list 2. So clearly shows us what kind it is. So now basically there select lists, tuples you can access items in the list, right, or the tuple. And how you do this is basically like in lists, right? By just using indexing. So like this. So I made a new tuple here. It's called numbers 10, 20, 30, 40. And I said print numbers 0, right? 0, that right there indicates the index. So the 0th index. And this one, print numbers -1. And you might be confused what -1 means, but it's just the last term. Negative always means counting from the back, right? So -1 would be the first one from the back. -2 would be 30, right? So let's run it. You can see, yeah, 10, the 0th index, and -1 is 40. Yeah. So now I'll show you that how tuples are immutable. So that basically, remember, that means you can't change it. So now look, numbers, like once again, we have the same tuple, 10, 20, 30, 40. But now I'm trying to make numbers tuple. I'm trying to make the 0th element to change. I'm trying to change it to 99 instead of 10. So now if I run this, I'll get a type error because tuple does not support um, changing items in the tuple, right? You cannot remove or add. Remember, that's what immutable means. Now, another thing with tuples is if you add one thing, right? You also always need a comma in tuples. It's like the first one you see, even though it only has one item, 5. It's an integer, by the way. It has a comma, so that makes that makes single a tuple, right? But the next one we see single has just 5, no comma, nothing, right? No quotation marks. That would be an integer, because whenever you make a tuple, you always have to add a comma, right? Or else it'll just be a normal variable, right? So the first one we can see is a tuple, and the second one is an integer. that we made. Now we can there are only two tuple methods, right? Um, Indexing and count, right? And basically, the first one count just tells us how many of a thing how many of an item do we have, right? So I said print numbers dot count two, right? How many twos do we have, right? How many of the integer two do we have? Next one is print numbers dot index three. Now we have to see the position of the three. Look, sorry. Right, so you can see right here, how many threes. We can see how many threes you count. One, two, three. Right, three twos. Sorry, one, two, three twos, three twos. And what's the position of three? Zero, one, two. Yep, two, two. So that makes sense. Now, now that we covered everything, I just want to go over why we use tuples. Well, before that, I'm gonna just copy everything, all the code, so you can see it. Um, in case you want to see anything, right? So yeah, these are all the sections that we learned today. If you want to copy it or you want to change any of the tuples, then you can. You can just exercise with them and test them out. But another thing I also want to go over before we end the video is why do we use tuples and why can't we just use lists? Well, we basically use tuples when we want to use data that really shouldn't be changed. This is really easy. Maybe you have something to do and the numbers or the words, the strings you have in it, you don't want to change it or add it, remove it. So you just put it in a tuple. Really simple. You also usually tuples have faster performances than lists, and you also want to use them as dictionary keys because they're mutable. If you don't know what dictionary keys are, we'll go over that in the next video. So that's it. I hope you learned everything you need to learn about Python tuples, what they are, how to use them, and why they matter. If this video helped, please drop a like and hit the subscribe button. And check out my next video or my previous videos on my channel. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. And happy coding.